Let's talk about this. Last night, the Knicks and Pacers came down to the wire, and the game ended. Now, look, here's my thing. Once I watched this back, and I watched, hold on, let me get my chat back up here. Once I watched this back, and I watched back some other things that happened, and my thing isn't, last night people were going nuts, and I was kind of involved in it with the Knicks get the best whistle in the NBA, and the NBA wants New York versus Boston more than anything. But I agree with Knicks fans at the end of this game that there was really bad calls on both sides that went both ways. My problem is the NBA officials making these calls in crunch time, period. I remember... Okay, let's just watch how this game ended, all right? The Pacers come down with under 30 seconds left, a chance to tie or go ahead with a three, and this ends the game right here. A moving screen call right there to end the game. And, DiVincenzo sells it. I mean, just come on, man. And the broadcast is even saying, like, what a sell job. There's a lot of actors in New York, and he's laying on the court celebrating. The fans are going crazy. Yay, we flopped to win the game. It's annoying. I'm not saying the Knicks didn't play a better game than the Pacers. Halliburton had 6 total points in the game. You're not going to win a game when your guy that's supposed to be a threat to lead a team in scoring is giving you 6 points. It's just annoying to me that these calls are being made in the NBA playoffs. Why are officials coming down in one of these final possessions and looking to call a moving screen? That's what I don't understand. A moving screen in that situation should have to be egregious. It should. I mean, he's not even moving. I'm sorry, guys. That's not even a moving screen. And they reviewed it, and what the official said was, the official did not say, by the way, he didn't say, call stands, it was a clear moving screen. He said Miles Turner did not give the defender an opportunity to turn and make a move. So it's a blind screen, which is not illegal. If you blindly run into a screen and break your shoulder, it's not a foul. I just don't even understand really what's happening in the NBA right now. There's just no reason we should be calling this a moving screen to end an NBA playoff game. But I want to give Knicks fans credit because one just about as horrible as that one was called a moving screen a couple possessions earlier in a 115-115 game. Not that one. That was the DiVincenzo clear moving screen that wasn't called. There's a pretty bad flop right here by Nembhard on Chenzo. He sets a screen, and this was called a... this was called a foul on Dante DiVincenzo. What are we doing, NBA? Look at number... My problem is with the officials, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's rigged. I'm not saying the Knicks are getting all the calls and the NBA's gifting them. And I'm saying, like, how are NBA officials? Because it happened on both ends. Knicks fans are right, it happened on both ends. I want to know how this number 4 official right here does not call this a technical foul for a flop. That's insane that he watched that happen and called that a foul. That is insane. How are NBA officials this bad? That's my main question and takeaway from this. How are NBA officials this bad? They need to be way better, and it keeps getting worse. They're every year they say they're trying to get flopping out of the game, and these officials just keep falling for it on like a crazy level in pivotal moments of playoff games. They're getting absolutely duped by players flopping. I just don't get it. There was another call that went against the Knicks at the end there where Brunson lost the ball off of a Pacers player's foot, and it was called out of bounds on Brunson, and it was not reviewable. So there's all these things in the NBA still that are not reviewable. There was a kick ball. They called a kick ball that clearly hit a Pacers player's hand, and it was a clean steal. They called it a kick ball. That's a pivotal game-changing call, too, that's not reviewable for some. So there's all these things that are not reviewable. It's just crazy. The NBA has no grip on the rules, the replay system, what's challengeable, what's not. The officials they're the worst right now that I think they've ever been at falling for these flops, especially when it comes to running into a screen and flopping or setting a screen and flopping. It's crazy. And they got a problem. The NBA has a problem and they need to fix it. But at the end of the day, the Knicks are going to beat the Pacers. Halliburton can't be finishing playoff games with 6 points. Let's call it what it is. Jalen Brunson had another great game, hit another massive couple of shots in crunch time like he was doing all series against the Sixers. The Knicks are tough. They annoy me because they're supposed to be this dog mentality team that plays the game the right way, and they're out here flopping like fish all over the place, baiting officials into game-changing calls like that. But it is what it is. The Pacers aren't good enough to beat the Knicks anyway. So you're going to get a Knicks-Celtics Eastern Conference Finals. That's just what's going to happen unless the Cavs can upset the Celtics coming up. I think that series starts tonight. And the last thing is the Denver Nuggets are down 2-0 to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they look completely down and out. They look like, these games weren't even really close. It's not, these games in this Nuggets Timberwolves series haven't been even close. It's not like the Knicks-Sixers series where, it went down to the final possession, felt like every game. The Nuggets are getting beat up and embarrassed every game, really, and I don't think they stand a chance. The Minnesota Timberwolves have such a complete team right now. Just the addition of Anthony Edwards on the level that he's at this season, and Karl Towns coming back from meniscus and being healthy at the right time, and it took him and Rudy Gobert a couple of years to really figure it out, but I think they got it, and they just have so many good defenders on that team, Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid, and I don't see... You're going to get a great Western Conference. I think you're going to get a great Western Conference Finals between Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves, if I'm right about how those teams line up. I think that's what it's going to be. If I'm wrong about that being a possibility, then I'm wrong. But I love the fact that the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves are the two teams that are beating everybody up right now in the West. You're seeing a shift in the NBA era. You're seeing the end of the super team. You're seeing teams still attempt at building super teams and falling flat on their faces. The Phoenix Suns gave up everything they had to put together what they thought was a super team with the 3 stars, and they got swept. And now their future is just bleak. And you're seeing teams that drafted and traded and built teams the right way and valued depth and valued wing defenders, multiple wing defenders. And you're seeing those teams being the ones that are beating everybody. I would love, as much as I say that I hate the Knicks because of that Sixers series, and, I think they're baiting officials a lot, but when it comes down to it, they have a great defense, and they're so deep. And they just have so many guys that fly to the ball and play strong defense and get offensive rebounds. And I think I would still enjoy seeing the Knicks upset the Celtics, even though it would be like the Giants versus the Cowboys for me. I think I would still like to see the Knicks upset the Celtics if that ends up being Eastern Conference Finals. And I think it'd be pretty cool if either Minnesota or OKC was in the finals against the New York Knicks. Because it just marks the end of the super team era. It marks the end of trying to put 3 superstars together, and it's bringing back really strong defensive teams. And you're seeing it right now. You're seeing it right now. You saw it a couple years ago, I think, with the when the Nets had Harden and Kyrie and everybody, and they were. I was saying from the beginning that shit ain't gonna work. They added those guys, but they have the worst defense, in history